The bench press is a great exercise to build overall upper body muscle mass, power and strength. The bench press is a progression from the push-up and is a very popular strength training exercise, as this exercise recruits more muscle groups and motor neurons than the push-up, which correlates very well with athletic performance in high energy sports that require explosive upper body movements. Stone 2016 reinforces how important peak power and overall muscle strength is for performance in sport, as athletes need to be able to produce force and handle external forces through their joints, and having strong enough muscles and ligaments to protect the body from getting put into compromising positions and bad angles. The nature of sports environments are very dynamic and fluid, and studies have indicated why athletes need to have strong muscles and be powerful in their movements, so they are able to react and play their sport at a high level, whilst being able to stay injury-free, as the joints and muscles are not strong enough. If the joints and muscles are not strong enough, and they are more susceptible to injuries in the harsh nature of competitive sport and training. The bench press significantly improves upper body strength, power and force development when the exercise is done at a fast tempo with relatively heavy loads for the athlete. Depending on the goal of the athlete determines how coaches should instruct the exercise. If the goal of training is for hypertrophy, the load would be less than maximal to allow for more repetitions to be completed as lower tempo to allow more time under tension, which will increase hypertrophy. But for athletes training for strength and power, the bench press should be an explosive exercise done with maximal loads for the best results in gaining strength and power. This is why many elite training programs and sporting organizations use this exercise in the off-season and in-season training to improve strength and power in the aim to improve their performance in their sport. The muscles used in the bench press are the pectoralis major and minor, which is the chest, the latissimus dorsi and the middle and upper trapezius and rhomboids, the anterior deltoid, the lateral deltoid, the posterior deltoid, which make up the majority of the shoulder, and supplementary muscles of the supraspinatus and the serratus anterior. The rectus abdominis helps stabilize the load and flatten out the back, and the triceps brachii and biceps brachii play a role in the lift as well. The rectus femoris, the hip flexor, the gluteus maximus and the gastrocnemius also play a part in stabilizing the athlete in the movement. The pectoralis major is the prime mover in the bench press, with your deltoids and triceps helping the majority of the pushing effort in the exercise. The triceps help lock out the elbow, which is activated in the beginning and end position of the bench press, and at lockout there is a great deal of load that goes through the tricep and elbow joint. Ensuring you keep your core muscles tight and to engage the lats, traps and posterior deltoids allow for your shoulder to get into full retraction and also protraction, which ensures a full range of motion and allows the pectoralis major to fully lengthen, and the athlete can get the full benefits of the exercise. As you can see here, the bar is not in line with my shoulder blade, and the bar is down near my stomach, which puts my shoulders and my chest in a really vulnerable position. So ensure that you squeeze your shoulder blades together when you're doing it, and your chest is right down. As you can see, my feet are not flat on the ground, and I'm on my toes, and I'm trying to arch my back. You might not be able to see it, but I'm trying to arch my back to really put myself in a bad position. So you sometimes see powerlifters try to arch their back to be able to put their shoulders onto the mat, onto the benches, to create power, but that's not what we want. We want to keep our abs nice and tight and our back flat. We want to ensure that our elbows are in line with the bar, and we keep our wrists tight. You can see here I've got my wrist loose, which puts the wrist in a really bad position to overextend. So we want to keep it nice and pronated, nice and strong, a good grip on the bar. We want to squeeze our shoulder blades together and fully retract our shoulder. Our abs are nice and tight with some breaths. Our heels are on the ground. We've got 5 points of contact with our head, our back, our glutes and our feet on the ground. So you want to make sure that your head stays neutral and you don't look down, and you keep your head nice and straight so you don't hurt your neck. So one of the main things is we don't want to arch the back, and we don't want to raise the chest to meet the bar, because that's really, it's putting us in a bad position with our lower back, and it doesn't really get the most out of, you're not able to retract your shoulder blades enough and get your shoulder blades really to squeeze, which takes a lot of the movement out. So
depress your shoulder.
yeah.
That's it.
Connor's going to demonstrate the bench press now.
Squeeze your shoulder blades together.
So he's going to unrack the bar with his wrist nice and nice and rigid. He's got his 5 points of body contact onto the bench. His torso and his back are his torso is going to remain tight, and his back, or his torso is going to remain in contact with the bench. His feet is always in contact with the floor. His wrists are directly above his the bar is directly above his elbows, and his wrists stay rigid. He's got the bar with a closed pronated grip. Yeah, and he's just really trying to squeeze his shoulder blades together.
For a shoulder whip.
Keep his abs nice and tight.
Keep your heels and feet on the ground, drive through your heels.
Really focus on that lift.
Your abs tight, squeeze your abs.
He's got very good form as well. So, you know, the tempo really dictates what sort of training you're looking for. So if you want a slower tempo, get more time under tension, that's obviously going to improve muscle growth. But for us, we want to get powerful and strong, so we want to lift as much weight as possible. So that's how you perform a bench press.
Keep your wrist strong and elbow over the bar. That's it, yeah. One more. Okay, now you're showing off.